Welcome back to the channel. Today, for today's starter pack opening, we are going to open this 2023 starter kit. This was $18 on Amazon. And yeah, let's see what kind of fun we can get into. Looks like for this one, we are a Forest Plains and a Water Fire. You know, it's pretty nice. For $18, you can get yourself a double pack. And buying on Amazon, it comes with a little card to punch into Magic Arena, and you get to add these decks not only physically to your physical mana collection, or Magic the Gathering collection, but also in the Magic Arena game. You get to add these. Put that to the side. All right, what do we got going here? Ooh, there we go. There's a cool box. If I can't, don't bend it. All right, here we go. These starter kits come with some boxes for your 60-card decks, not your 100-card commander decks, but we may get into some commander ones later and see what those have in them. Oh, cool. Come on, don't bend on me. Here we go. And prop these up in the background. What else did we come with? We came with a starter kit play guide. It just kind of walks you through how the game's played. You know, your hand, graveyard, library, a bunch of other stuff. Nice little rules if you're new to Magic the Gathering. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I have a lot of fun making these starter kit ones. And it's, you know, kind of cool getting to see what I get to add to my Magic the Arena deck. Yeah. That's a little cooler. The last ones came in like a plastic holder, which holds the cards well. But I don't know, I kind of like this cardboard version of the starter kit with the nice little magic symbol, the duality of the blue and the red. Obviously feathers and molten fire on the other side. All right. Where are our colors again? Our colors were Forest Plains and Water Fire. Well, we'll start with the Forest Plains. See what we got. Interesting that the other decks, the holo was by itself and you had to open the pack. This one, the holo is with the pack. A little change up, I guess, for 2023. There we go. Put this out of here. And let's look at our holo. Boonbringer Valkyrie. 5 mana to cast. It's a 4/4 creature angel warrior. Backup 1. When this creature enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. If that's another creature, it gains the following abilities until end of turn: flying, first strike, lifelink. So if you put the +1 on Boonbringer, it's just a 5/5. But if you put it on a secondary creature, a quote-unquote backup creature, then it, you know, your backup creature, let's say it was more powerful. Your backup creature is a 6/6. It becomes a 7/7, and it gains the following abilities. Yeah, and it has flying, first strike, and lifelink. So your 7/7 is going to heal you for 7. With a first strike, most likely it's going to survive the battle. And with the flying, most likely it would soar over your opponent. But let's say your opponent had a strong flying creature. You're taking out your opponent's, potentially taking out your opponent's strong one. Yeah, I like this. This is an extremely powerful card. Very nice draw. We will put the holo inside the sleeve. And keep moving right along. Tuck that right in. Stand that up. There we go. All right. Next up, we have In the Trenches. This is a 3 mana enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. I like that. And then on top of that, it has an extra mana ability for 6 mana. Exile target non-land permanent you don't control until In the Trenches leaves the battlefield. Active only as a sorcery and only once. Okay. There are other cards for 3 mana that will do the same thing, but this one initially just makes your creatures strong, all of your creatures stronger by +1/+1, and then for an extra 6 mana later, it can also exile a single card. Personally, I think 6 mana is overpriced, but I kind of get it because it's already given you the +1/+1. Interesting card. That might be the reason for the 6 mana is it's supposed to be, I'm guessing, utilized as a play later in the game. And so you should have more mana out on the field, and you're taking something away from your opponent later on the game. So, interesting card. Then we have a Silverback Elder. 4/5. 5 mana to cast. Creature Ape Shaman. 5/7. That's pretty powerful. For a 5 mana, you get a 5/7. Whenever you cast a creature spell, choose one. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Okay. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, or you gain 4 life. I like that. This is a very powerful card, both in attack, defense, and its abilities, and its mana price at a 5 mana to cast. I mean, very affordable, very doable with a forest deck. Awesome card to draw. Silverback Elder. Might have to play around with that in Arena. Then we have a Vampire Soldier, so we're kind of staying with the vampire theme from the 2022 deck. Dusk Legion Duelist. Creature Vampire Soldier, 2 mana to cast. It's a 2/2. Vigilance. Okay, I'm liking that. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on Dusk Legion Duelist, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. I like it. Powerful vampire to add. You know, is it the strongest vampire? No, but it does a lot, and it can grow stronger over the turns. Cool card to have. We have a Siege Veteran. 3 mana to cast. Creature Human Soldier. It's a 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Whenever another non-token soldier you control dies, create a 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature token. Cool. You know, it's not the strongest at a 2/2, but it can make other creatures stronger, and it can potentially create some colorless 1/1 soldier artifacts. Nice. Ancient Imperator. 7 mana to cast. Creature Dinosaur. 6/6. Convoke. With Convoke, your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 mana or 1 mana of that creature's color. Okay, interesting. It has Trample, good, excellent, and it has a Ward too. With Ward, if somebody tries to cast an instant on this dinosaur, let's say it's a 3 mana instant, they would also have to tap 2 more on top of that to get to 5, because your Ward defends it with another 2 mana tap. Sometimes the Ward might be sacrifice a creature, it changes it up, but just an extra added layer of defense. Ancient Imperator enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each creature that convoked it. Wow. Okay. Theoretically, if you're playing an only forest deck, you're doing an only forest dinosaur deck, and you got a bunch of weaker dinosaurs out early, and you had 7 dinosaurs on the field and hadn't won the game yet. You could tap all 7, throw this card out, have paid no mana, but obviously you had to tap 7 creatures to do it, and enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each creature that convoked it. Yeah, because each tap, since they should be other forest dinosaurs themselves, you can use that to pay for the forest, along with the other just random 5 mana. And so you could have 7 creatures tapped. 7 times 2 is 14, plus it's a 6/6. 14 and 6 makes 20. That means theoretically, if you did it right, this card could play as a 20/20 out on the field with trample. Wow. Extremely powerful card for later in the game. Very interesting. I've been meaning to start a dinosaur deck, and that might be a fun one to add as like a Hail Mary at the end. And then we have Quarian Beastcaller. 2 mana, creature, Dryad Warrior. 2/2. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on the Beastcaller. When the Beastcaller dies, distribute X +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control, where X is a number of +1/+1 counters on Quarian Beastcaller. This is a very powerful card. Super easy to get this out early at only a 2 mana, and then every other creature you play after that just keeps making it stronger and stronger and stronger. I'm definitely going to be playing around with this card. Very powerful card. Awesome draw. Super impressed. That's going to be a fun one. In fact, I'm going to put that to the side. I don't want to forget that one. Next we have Simian Simulacrum. Simian Simulacrum. 3 mana to cast. Artifact creature Ape. It's a 2/1. When Simian Simulacrum enters the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Theoretically, it could be the Simulacrum, which means instead of a 2/1, you're actually playing it as a 4/3. Much better. And then it also has an Unearth ability for 4 mana. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield, unearth only as a sorcery. So for 4 mana, it can also return as a desperation attack with haste as your potentially, once again, a 4/3, or providing that same +1/+1 counters on a different creature. I think with the haste attack returning from the graveyard, I'd probably put those +1/+1 counters on a different creature. But yeah, looks like a pretty powerful multi-strategy card. I like it. Start a new pile over here. All right, next up, creature human soldier, recruitment officer. 1 planes to cast. It's a 2/1, decent for a 1 planes. And its ability for 4 mana, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. The ability is not the best. As a 2/1, is an okay card. Nothing special. I give you 2 of those. Then you have Storm the Seed Core. Okay. Interesting artwork. Looks like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, the armor the guy's wearing. The ear looks almost human, but the armor looks almost like a cross between dwarvish and elvish. I don't know what's going on with this. Weird one. Okay. Storm the Seed Core, 4 mana to cast. Sorcery. Distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among up to 4 target creatures you control. Creatures you control gain vigilance and trample until end of turn. That's a good card. I think there's a better planes card out there. For 1 planes, it's called what's it called? Geared for Battle, and it distributes 2 +1/+1 counters for a single plane. I use it quite a bit with my Plains decks, but yeah, Storm the Seed Core. You know, with Force, you can get that 4 mana out pretty quickly, so not a bad card. Could be a good addition. I give you 2 of those. Next up, we have Smite Herbalist. 2 mana to cast. It's a 2/1 creature human cleric. When Smite Herbalist becomes tapped, you gain 1 life and scry 1. Decent card. I like it. Scrying, hopefully helping you with your next draw, and you're gaining a life. Actually, that's a pretty powerful card. Yeah. A welcomed addition to a plain deck. And I give you 2 of those. Oh, look at that artwork. I like the armor. Battle charging. This is Sigiled Sentinel. 3 mana to cast. It's a 2/2. Creature human knight. Backup 1. When this creature enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. If that's another creature, it gains the following abilities until end of turn. Vigilance. This is a decent card. Could, if utilized correctly, it could be a decent one. I've recently been playing around with a knight build to where, I'm like throwing out Patchwork Banner, and I'm saying all knights get +1/+1, and then there's a card out there called Rally the Ranks. I say knight for the Rally the Ranks, and once again, your knights are getting +1/+1, so now suddenly all your knights are getting +2/+2. This could be a welcomed addition to a card like that, especially if it's throwing out Vigilance. Gains the following ability, and granted it's only till end of turn, but the 1/1 counter stays. So there you go. I give you 2 of those. Next up, we have a Mesa Cavalier. Yep, Mesa Cavalier. 3 mana to cast. Creature human knight. Once again, another knight. 2/1 flying. Weak on the defense. When Mesa Cavalier enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. This is an okay card. The flying, yeah, it's nice, but there are ways to defeat, especially a 2/1 flying. It's not that difficult. Cooped Up. 2 mana to cast. Enchant Aura. Enchanted creature. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. And then later on, if you tap 3 mana, exile enchanted creature. I'd prefer to just exile it on a 2 mana cast, but this is kind of like a roundabout way of getting rid of a creature. Not the best one, not the worst. If it's all you had, it's a decent card. Ooh, interesting. There's another Mesa Cavalier, but they didn't put it in order with the other one. Nor did they put Cooped Up in order with another Mesa Cavalier. I bet you we got 3 of each, but we'll see. Another Mesa Cavalier, another Cooped Up. All right, now we're on to a new card. They normally keep all 3 together and the same, but they kind of had those mixed in. All right, moving on. We have Iridescent Blade Master. 2 mana to cast. It's a 2/2. Creature Elf Warrior. For 4 mana, Iridescent Blade Master gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I'd prefer a 3 or even a 2 mana doing the same thing instead of 4, but yeah, Elf Warrior. I've seen there's some pretty powerful elf cards out there, and I've gotten run over by some elf decks. I don't have a whole lot of those powerful elf cards in my arena. I wish I had some more, but yeah, you can do some amazing things with elf cards. I give you 2 of those. Then we have a Chomping Kavu. 4 mana to cast. It's a 3/3. It's a creature Kavu, whatever a Kavu is. Another backup thing, where you or your backup gets a +1/+1. With the following ability until end of turn, this creature can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Overpriced, not that good. And it's a niche character. How many KAVU creatures do you have? Not one I'd utilize. I'd skip that one. I give you 2 of those. Then we have a Managoth Century creature treefolk with reach 4/4. Decent. I love the reach 4/4. That's a really good card. Treefolk. So I can add this to my Lord of the Rings Ent treefolks. Cool. Give you 2 of those. Giant's Growth. A lot of people have seen this before. It's a single forest to cast instant. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Then we have Titanic Growth. 2 mana to cast instant. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. You know, Giant's Growth is powerful at a 1 mana play, and then Titanic Growth gets you in a little bit more, but at a 2 mana play. Both really good cards. I like it. Moving on to Broken Wings. 3 mana to cast. Instant. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. There are other cards out there for 2 mana that will do the same, but if this is all you got, it's still a decent one. I like that artwork too. Look at that thing. Destroying like a bone dragon or something. I'll give you 2 of those. Fairgrounds Trumpeter. Creature elephant. 3 mana to cast. At the beginning of each end step, if a +1/+1 counter was put on a permanent under your control this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Fairgrounds Trumpeter. Okay, it's a 2/2. Kind of a weak for an elephant card, being only a 2/2. But if you're playing +1/+1 counters on other creatures, that's how this creature is going to become more powerful more quickly, because it gets the same +1/+1 counter. Interesting. Give you 2 of those. Then we have a Blossoming Sands. This is a dual Forest Plains card. Blossoming Sands enters the battlefield tapped. When Blossoming Sands enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Yeah, good little card if you're trying to do... Oh, they only give you 1, though. Ooh. Last deck, they gave you 4 of these. They didn't just give... Oh, wait, there it is. It's mixed in just like before. Weird what they did this time. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and there should be 1 more. Yep, 4 Blossoming Sands. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 forest cards. Followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Only 10 Plains cards. Then they give you a joinmagiccommunity.com. Count life, enter tournaments, and more. Rules, and then they give you the codes card. On the back side of this card here is the code to add these decks to Magic Arena. So from what I understand, just doing some quick Google searching, this was something only on Amazon. So if you're going to buy these, you know, Amazon is the way to get the code, potentially. I'm not 100% on that. But I bought these on Amazon. They were cheap, and they came with the codes. And so far, all the codes have worked. I've had no issues. And now we'll move on to our last deck. All right, let's try the other side. There we go. If we could open these. Here we go. There. We will start with our holo, which says Tyrant of Kerr Ridges. It is a creature dragon, a 6 mana to cast, and it's a 4/5 flying. When Tyrant enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to any target. And for a 1 fire cast, Tyrant gets +1/+0 until end of turn. See, that's what I'm talking about. A 1 mana cast +1/+0. That I'm okay with. What all these smaller cards are like, for 3 mana, you get a +1 or a +2/+0 until end of turn. It's just overpriced. This is much more reasonable. It'll go from, for 1 extra fire, it'll go from a 4/5 to a 5/5 with flying. Cool. Cool card to add. I'm hoping to build a dragon deck as I get more of these. Although I have several like powerful large mana dragons. I need to get some like smaller dragons, some 1 mana dragons or 2 mana cast dragons. I don't have any of those currently in my decks. All right, and getting back in, we have a, they give you a multicolored. I think this is one of the first multicolored I've come across in these starter decks, with the exception of the Lord of the Rings starter deck, which had a bunch. Sharkan, Soul of Flame. 3 mana cast with being a water fire, legendary creature, human shaman. 2/4. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Nice. Decent little addition to your dragon cards. When a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Sharkan, Soul of Flame, become a copy of it until end of turn, except its name is Sharkan, Soul of Flame, and it's legendary in addition to its other types. I mean, there's a dragon card called Terror at the Peaks, and if this is able to, of which Terror at the Peaks isn't that difficult to get out onto the field, and if this one becomes a copy of that, then every time you cast a, I think with Terror at the Peaks, every time you cast a creature card, you get to deal that creature's power as a, instant sorcery attack, and so then, because you have 2 of these, you get to deal it twice. This is a really powerful addition card to any dragon deck. If you're going to be building a dragon deck, I highly recommend this 2023 starter kit from, like I said, $18 on Amazon. So this alone might just be worth it. Start a multicolored pile over here. Ooh, more dragons. A Dragon Hydra. We got Shivian Devastator with a X fire play. It's a 0/0 initially. Flying Haste, Shivian Devastator enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. You got to have a bunch of mana in the field in order to play this, but if you can do it right, let's say, I don't know, you had 6 mana in the field, you're playing this as a 5/5. You have 8 mana in the field, you're playing this as a 7/7. Could be a powerful card if you're able to get the mana out there. A little more difficult with fire, but there are workarounds, so it's not impossible. Start a fire pile. I was just asking for dragons. Ask and you shall receive. Ragefire Hellkite. 6 mana to cast. It's a 5/3 creature dragon with flying. Whenever Ragefire attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, Ragefire gets double strike until end of turn. I'm not a big fan of sacrificing creatures. And I don't know of too many cards that just spawn dragon tokens. So, not the greatest card. Kind of weak on the defense, but another dragon. Aether Chandler. 3 mana to cast, 2/1, creature, human, wizard. When the Chandler enters the battlefield, choose 1, create a 1/1 blue bird creature token with flying, return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, draw a card. This is an okay card. Kind of jack of all trades, master of none. Start a water pile. Ignatius Prodigy. Creature, human, wizard. X water to cast. Skulk. Oh, and 0/1. This Skulk, what is that? This creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Okay. Ignatius Prodigy enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So yeah, it's similar to that other dragon one. The more mana you got out there, the better it is. At the beginning of your upkeep, the Prodigy has 1 or more +1/+1 counters on it. You may remove a +1/+1 counter from it. If you do, draw a card. Multi-uses. Could be powerful if played later with a bunch of mana. Cool card. Nice addition to a water deck. All right, we have a Dragon Wing Glider. Artifact equipment. It is a 5 mana to cast. 4 Mirrodin. When this equipment enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 red rebel creature token then attach it to it. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and haste. And then if that creature should die, then you can later equip this for 5, which is the same price to cast it. Kind of spendy. Yeah, these 4 Mirrodin ones are interesting. You get the equipment and a creature, and then when that creature dies, then you get to utilize the equipment later. But there's a lot of cards out there where you wouldn't even have to pay the 5 mana. It'll just, the card will pick up equipments as it attacks. I think there's a Frodo card like that. There's an Orc card like that, and a couple of others. So yeah, for a flying +2/+2 and haste, pretty powerful equipment card, but spendy at the 5 mana. Ooh, legendary creature, Human Noble, Godric Cloaked Revealer. 3 mana to cast. It's a 3/3 with haste. Okay, we're already good. What else we got? Celebration. As long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn. As long as 2 or more non-land permanents entered the battlefield under your control this turn, Godric Cloaked Revealer is a dragon with base power and toughness 4/4. With flying, and for a single fire, dragons you control get, all dragons, not just him, all dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Wow. I'm hoping that playing Godric Cloaked Revealer counts as one of the non-land permanents entering the battlefield. If it does, then all you gotta do is play Godric with one other creature. You know, you play him as a 3/3 and play another creature as like a 1 mana 1/1, and there's your 2 non-land permanents entering, and he's not just a 3/3, he's a 4/4 dragon, a welcomed addition, and for a single fire tap, he will make all your dragons 1 stronger. Very powerful legendary card. I think he'd be a great leader for a dragon commander deck. Wow, awesome draw on that one. Super excited. Like I said, I don't have a lot of low mana dragon cards, but here's one, or at least lower at 3. I still need some 1s and 2s, but we'll see what else we get. Okay, we have an Ogre Warrior creature, 3 mana to cast. It's a 3/2. Kolahan Warmonger. Haste. Whenever the Warmonger attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Weird card. Orc dragon combo, or not orc, or ogre dragon combo. Probably one I'd skip personally, because at a 3 mana cast, 3/2, it's weak on the defense. Granted, you do have the haste, but yeah, it's a weird one to add to dragons. I don't know. Actually, I want to put my legendary creature off to the side, because that's one I really like. Ooh, a water dragon. Dragon wizard on top of that. Archive dragon. Has flying, 6 mana to cast, 4/6. Decent defense. And a ward 2. Nice. This creature becomes a target of spell or ability opponent controls. You have to pay an extra 2. When Archive Dragon enters the battlefield, scry 2. Nice water dragon to add to a deck. Oh, another one of these. So you get 2 of those. Nope, we got 3. Okay, so you get 3 of the Warmongers and 2 of the water dragons. Next up, we have a Dragon Whelp. So a smaller dragon, creature dragon, 4 mana cast, spendy for it, only 2/3. Has flying, and then fire for a single fire. Dragon Whelp gets +1/+0 until end of turn. This ability has been activated 4 or more times this turn. Sacrifice Dragon Whelp at the beginning of the next end step. Overpriced. You got to have just a bunch of fire manas out in the field to be able to play this. Weaker dragon card, I'd skip it personally. Then we have Witchstalker Frenzy. 4 mana to cast instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature that attack this turn. I like these where the more creatures that are attacking, so the more offensive you are, the cheaper the spell is to cast. So yeah, you can get this down to a single fire to cast. And Witchstalker Frenzy deals 5 damage to target creature. So yeah, if you're attacking and then your creatures are lining up to block and you saved a single fire mana and you had at least 3 creatures attacking, you can destroy one of their creatures for that has defense 5 or less pretty easily. Or maybe you just weaken it enough to take it out while you're fighting it. Very cool card. I think a welcomed addition to any fire deck. Theoretically, you should be having creatures on the field attacking anyways. And another Dragon Whelps. I'll try to organize these. Witchers, 3 Dragon Whelps, Witchstalkers. Okay, so the Witchstalker, you get 3 of those, 3 of the Dragon Whelps. All right, what is this? Another dragon. Spendy, but another dragon. Shivian Branch Burner. 7 mana to cast. It's only a 4/4 creature dragon. But you have Convoke again, so you can get those numbers down by tapping some creatures already on the field. It has flying and haste. I'd probably skip this one too. It's just too expensive. The Convoke doesn't give you anything extra like some of the other cards we read. And at 4/4, it's just kind of a weaker dragon. Shame. Moving on. Quick Study, 3 mana to cast, instant, draw 2 cards. I like that. You don't have to discard a card afterwards. It is a little spendy at 3 mana. But yeah. Nice draw card addition to a water deck. They give you 2 of those. Then we have Stormkeld Prowler. Stormkeld Prowler. Creature, human rogue, 2 mana to cast, 2/1. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, put 2 +1/+1 counters on the Prowler. I don't know how many 5 mana value cards you're playing. Usually it's harder to play those and takes many turns, so this is kind of a slow builder late in the game. I don't know. I'd probably skip this one. Stasis Field. 2 mana to cast, enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has base power and toughness 0/2, has defender, and loses all other abilities. I mean, you can weaken your opponent's stronger card, but realistically, they still have a 2 defender, which may still work in your opponent's favor. I don't know. This is not one of my favorites, these styles. I'd much rather just destroy my opponent's creature, but hey, there you go. Oh, and we got ourselves another Prowler. God, they are really mixing these cards up this time. So we have Prowler, another Stasis Field, a 3rd Prowler, a 3rd Stasis Field, a 4th Prowler, and that's it. All right, then we have Lightning Strike. 2 mana to cast. Lightning Strike deals 3 damage to any target. That's what I'm talking about. Most 2 mana, 3 damage is going to be to, creature or planeswalker. This can hit creature, planeswalker, or player. This is a welcomed addition to a instant deck. Definitely going to be utilizing this one. Very powerful. Rock Hunter. 2 mana to cast. It's a 3/1 creature human soldier and has reach. I'd prefer a 2 defense, but then again, I understand because it's only a 2 mana why it only has a 1 defense. I think this is a great flying defense, but I'd probably accompany this with some sort of like equipment shield that gave it an extra 2 defense type thing. Rock Hunter. Not a bad card. Oh, another Lightning Strike. So we get 2 Lightning Strikes, 2 Rock Hunters, 3 Lightning Strikes, but only 2 of the Rock Hunters. Okay. All right, and then we have a water fire split land. Swiftwater Cliffs. It enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. And you can either add a water or fire. And they're going to be spread out again. Okay, so we get 2 of those. Let me put this Off to the side in its own pile. Oh, 3, 4 of those. Nice. Okay. Then waters, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 waters. Mountains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mountains. Add that to that pile. And then once again, we have our gamer code on the back one. I'll flip it over. But yeah, they give you 2 of the gamer codes. You only need to enter one of them, even though the 2 codes are different. And just by entering one, it'll activate both codes and both decks will go into your account. And that's all for these starter decks. I definitely enjoyed these boxes. I got a bunch of dragons, which I was looking for. Still trying to find a few low-end dragons to play, but you know, I got a couple of good legendary dragon guys. This one makes dragons cheaper to cast, which I think I would utilize for these expensive dragons. And then this guy over here, this Godric, I think later on, once they get a more well-rounded dragon deck, he's probably going to be the stronger one to play. But yeah, awesome dragon additions, some other cool cards. Obviously 2 holos with every starter kit. I hope you enjoyed the content. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.